बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम. First of all, I apologize that yesterday I missed Dr. Mamdu Salama's lecture, which is always enlightening. And today I'll continue with the same topic which he had started about taqwa. We had left it at a certain point, which I'll just mention it in order to recapitulate just one point. This was the last slide which we had discussed last time. So what is the proof of taqwa? Proof of taqwa for oneself, how I know that I am muttaqi, I am enjoying taqwa, I am practicing taqwa. What is the proof for myself? First of all, the starting point is for myself. So it is the experience of awe of God which inspires a person to be on God. If I claim that I am experiencing ihsan, experience of awe of God means ihsan, in other words, and then it does not inspire me to be good, to be conscious of God, then it means I have no taqwa. It must inspire a person to be on guard against wrong action. Here, instead of wrong deed, wrong act, wrong action has been mentioned. So it includes both the aspects. To forbid the wrong and encourage for the good. It includes both because it is referring to action, and I put it in the inverted commas. This is not my philosophy, but they say that taqwa is not just saving oneself from a sin, from a wrong deed, but it is also saving the society through the policies, through various things. It's not that through vigil, by taking the sticks, we can do this. It's a matter of societal, sociological reform that should encourage good and that should forbid bad. So these are the important ingredients of taqwa. If as a society we are enjoying this, then there is taqwa in the society, in the culture, in the civilization, in the group. Otherwise, there is no taqwa. And I'll show this again, that how it goes up to the level of civilization. And eager to act, not just one acts lethargically, that now it is Salat time, therefore I should be careful about the hygiene. For example, just one example, but which is very, very important. I should be careful about the hygiene. I should be careful about the cleanliness of my clothes. I should be honest. I should not tell a lie. But it is a general setup of mind. It is general attitude of mind that one is eager to act in the service of God, always ready to act in the service of God for greater good, not only common good between you and me. Tu man tera haji bago, tu mera haji bago. You praise me, I praise you. You help me, I help you. But it is greater good. And greater good does not stop at the human society. It goes beyond that. It covers the environment, all creation, animal world, botanical world. So it is for the greater good or of his creation. All the creations of God, even earth. Earth is a creation of God. Don't destroy it. What will happen to those who destroyed the cities with the atom bomb? Who destroyed the cities as it is happening in Gaza? Thousands and thousands of people being killed, and then thousands and thousands of people buried under the rubble, and thousands of people injured, becoming paralyzed. and using starvation as the weapon of ethnic cleansing. So it has a very important, greater meaning, and this does not mean that the one who is doing it, he is only responsible. The starting point is that if you have the power, for example, you have the state, you have the sovereignty, you should stop it, stay forward. And if you can't do that, you should at least speak against it. And if you can't do that, at least you should hate it. That's what we are doing. We are seeing everything live streaming. And kindly consider, have we stopped our luxuries, our wastage of money, time, or anything which we can do in this respect? These are not the some good signs which can, on the basis of which we can claim that we as a society have taqwa. Whatever I have said this is not my philosophy. I don't have such depth of knowledge. I've just tried to collate these things, collect these things, and now these one by one, point by point, I'll refer to. For example, Ibn Abbas lays down at least three important ingredients. One is that one has to be a believer. Without belief, there is no concept of taqwa when we are talking about taqwa of God, consciousness of God. When we are discussing taqwa, we are discussing consciousness of God. One has to believe. And then this belief should be, and its most important ingredient is that one should avoid shirk. The problem is not with illallah. They said, even the kuffar of Makkah, that yes, God is there. But at the same time, they said there are many other gods. The problem is with the La ilaha. There is no God except God. There is no God except God who is worthy of praise, who is worthy of hamd. Subhanallah, He is the only one who can be praised. So it is shirk, believe, avoid shirk. And then the other important thing is that saying with a lip service is not sufficient. Without obedience, there is no taqwa. Taqwa demands practice. Without practice, without obedience, there is no taqwa. Ibn Kasir, he says, to avoid what one dislikes. This is a very important statement. This has deep roots in psychology. Then we'll have to study the Freudian theory and many other things. What does this mean? That one has adopted taqwa in such a manner in his own character. Nafs, nafs means personality, shakhsiyat, in his own person, that taqwa does not allow him to do anything which goes against the liking of God. Here, liking of God is synonymous with the liking of the person. And person who has taqwa dislikes what Allah dislikes. So what one dislikes, it becomes part of his character, his shakhsiyat, his nafs, his nafsiyat, his psychology. For example, riba is banned, prohibited. Lahm al-khinzir is prohibited. That one develops such a dislike for these things that he himself does not allow any of them to creep into his character. Then there's another important piece which I selected: to protect oneself from sin through life's dangerous journey. Life is not just an easy journey. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I'll test you with the challenges of weathers, your fruits, your crops, your orchards. they may suffer because there is a world of germs also. The germ theory was developed in 18th century, but Quran warned much earlier that there will be many challenges biologically, physiologically, in the weather also. There will be floods, there will be earthquakes. In those situations, the journey is not very smooth. But here, what does this mean, dangerous journey? Dangerous journey means that even if one tries to remain on the path, the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim, there are challenges of distraction. There are threats. There are so many other things that one has to avoid these things. And all these go to make the taqwa, form the taqwa, so that one can successfully complete the journey unscathed, unscathed by sin. Abu Huraira also said that passing through the world in which there are challenges from both the sides, there are spikes on both the sides, and one has to save his clothes, he save his body, so that he passes through that on the straight path unscathed. This is part of taqwa. Quran, what is the Quranic doctrine which we have discussed, and the proof of taqwa which I discussed? I only try to pick out these things from the Quranic doctrine. The Quranic doctrine says that virtue cultivates taqwa. Surah One Nafsim Vama Sawaha. The personality, the person, the nafsiyat, the psychology of the person, a theory has been given, One Nafsim Vama Sawaha, and then an example has also been elaborated. Virtue cultivates taqwa. If it does not cultivate taqwa, then what will be the consequences? It happened to the brotherhood of Saleh when they violated taqwa. Virtue cultivates taqwa, and taqwa cultivates personality, shakhsiyat. These are the two sides of the coin. It cultivates person. We limit the meaning of nafs only to nafs without understanding, but nafs at different places in Quran, we have discussed that, has different meanings. It means person, it means personality, it means persona, shakhsiyat in Urdu. It cultivates person. So if we place it in sequence, so taqwa leads to virtue, and virtue leads to refinement of personality, shakhsiyat, person. And at a broader level, at a higher level, if we expand it further, then taqwa leads to virtue, virtue leads to personality, refines personality, and personality of a person. When all the persons in a group, they come together to practice one mode of life, then it becomes culture. At one point, I had emphasized there, but here just I'm mentioning, there is no concept in any religion, in any philosophy, that there could be culture without taboos. The definition, basic definition of culture is that culture cannot be without taboos. And taboos means that one has to avoid it. That is what Abu Huraira said, that is what Ibn Abbas said, that we have to avoid, because these are the taboos which have been placed in practice, have been prescribed in practice, but we violate them. Taqwa, virtue, personality, culture at a group level. When it goes at a higher level of the society, it forms civilization. This was the aim of the Quran, to form civilization, but there was one more ingredient in it, that it has to be ummatan wasatan, not to the extreme. on any side. It has to be a moderate civil society. The aim of the civilization, creation of civilization in Islam is to create a moderate civil society, ummatan wasatan, moderate civil society. And then there are other aspects which have been mentioned along with taqwa in different ayat. I've given the references. For example, while referring to the trust, amanat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala links them with taqwa. Faithfulness, wafa, links Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala these things with taqwa. And here I may point out that this wafa is not only wafa with God, wafa in every human relationship. 14 times tilka hududullah have been mentioned, and all the time it has been mentioned with reference to the human relations and wafa in human relations. Now, a very small example. Do we have wafa for our wife? Do we have any wafa for our mother? Do we have any wafa for our children? For our husband? This is very important. It's not just wafa with God. Wafa with God is through His creation, His creatures. Then patience. It has been mentioned along with sabr. These are different aspects of taqwa. That what taqwa brings and what strengthens taqwa. Now another group is ayat number this, I mentioned ayat and ayat number this, just a group. Taqwa related to good life, hasanat. You must have seen that in our khutbahs, our khatib, most of the time they press upon ignore this world. You shun this world. As if we are not physical, we are not living in physical world, and you must hate the physical luxuries of life. Quran calls them hasanat. The object of adopting taqwa is to have a good life, hasanat of life. Without hasanat, in abject poverty, how can we have good life? And how can we have hasanat? To have a good life, even aesthetics. Quran has mentioned about the ornaments of women. It has mentioned the zinat. It has mentioned so many other aesthetics which people like. Good life is not a sin within the hudud Allah, within the limits, with hasanat, not sayyat. Its other synonym, its antonym would be sayyat, not sayyat, but good life with hasanat. So this ayat, in other ayat I'm projecting here, from this ayat 39:10, this I'm projecting here, it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the prophets to tell these people who are obedient to God, ibadil lazina, who are obedient to God. When you have believed, now this is important in our daily life. Ittaqu, ittaqu rabbakum. في الدنيا أحسنوا في هذه الدنيا حسنة. The passage route lies to the next world through this world. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Here also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is linking it with ittaqu and do good. في هذه الدنيا, في هذه الدنيا. Don't shun it. Don't become rahib. Don't go to the jungles. Don't go to the mountains. God is here with you in your real life, in real time. And as I mentioned, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned it along with sabr and wafa. These are only simple words which I have picked up from these ayat and tried to list them collate them, and find the doctrine that was the doctrine of taqwa in the Quran. Then in these ayat, taqwa related to material ease and conduct. Surah At-Talaq, ayat number 1 to 5. Material ease. For example, when you, the ayat say that when you give talaq, talaq is not just a separation. Saying talaq is not just separation. Talaq is a process of settlement. Talaq is a process of settlement of separation. What will happen to the children? What will happen to the property? What will happen to the maintenance of the lady who is being divorced? These things have to be settled. So talaq is a process of settlement, how to separate. But here, you go to a mullah, he will say, you say, I've said talaq, talaq. He says, yes, talaq is there. What about the interest of the child? This is the cornerstone of the legal systems in the world. In these situations, the cornerstone of the philosophy is that the interest of the child comes first. Before talaq, it has to be decided. And then interest of the lady who is being divorced, about her maintenance, about her lodging. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Sarahan Jamila. If you want to separate, then settle it and make the life easy. Sarahan Jamila for her. And in this ayat, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that فَطَلِقُهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ usu. It is for the man, order to the man. Woman is included, but the order is being given to the listener, person to whom the khitab is being made. He has to count the iddat. I have been emphasizing this misconception of iddat, that iddat is to be counted only by the woman. It has distorted the whole legal system. And then here, again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is repeating, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ رَبَّكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. And then he has further protected it. تِلْكَ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ. And if you violate this, this is zulm. And before that, don't expel them from the houses, from the lodging, till she marries, or she is dead. You cannot expel her from the house. And then, unless she marries again, or she is dead, or she commits a sin. Otherwise, one cannot expel from the house. So this is not the topic, but I'm simply pointing out that these are the points of taqwa. But in our society, we have completely removed these ideas from the concept of taqwa. We are not worried about it. Simply talaq, 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 and talaq is there. No regard to ittaqu rabbakum allazi khalaqakum. Wattaqullah rabbakum. No regard to that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again says, in this, there are two important words, that if you have taqwa and you are doing anything while keeping the consciousness of God in your mind, keeping the piety in your mind, keeping the fear of God in your mind, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I make a makhraja for you. You may go wrong, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep a way out for you to come out of that situation. He will not let you to remain in the blind street. He will keep a makhraja, exit, how to exit out of it. And then if one is conscious of God, then yarzukuhu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a reward. when you reconcile with your wife, or wife reconciles with the husband, when they are conscious, we should do this and we should not do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them rewards in barakat, in their property also, in their wealth also, in their sukoon, in their harmony, in their peace of mind in this world and for the next world. And then this is the topic in which taqwa is being repeated. But we are not linking these acts as acts of taqwa. We simply think that taqwa, he is muttaqi who has a sign on his forehead, who is offering more nawafil. This is practical obedience in every aspect of life. And here there is another incentive, that if somebody is conscious of God, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes his matters easy for him. It's a big reward. Allah makes matters easy for him. And there's yet another reward, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will exchange, will cover the sayyat. He will cover the sayyat, he will cover the bad deeds. And not only that, there's another reward, that he will give you ajr, azim. Ajr is that which continues. And for women, there it has been said, give them their ujur. It's not ujrat. It's not prostitution. It is ujur. Ujur, ajr is that which from Allah's side continues, irrespective of time limit. And it's not that one time a trophy will be given on the day of judgment, but the ajr which is given, that will continue. And I have already mentioned this Sarahan Jamila. If we can adopt taqwa, then we have to adopt this, that we have to separate, we have to settle the matters, Sarahan Jamila. But we're not doing that. It's not part of our philosophy of separation. Settlement is not the part of philosophy of settlement of talaq. Then at another place again, Sarahan Jamila, it has been repeated. And these are the ayat where it has been mentioned. And ujurahun, continuous maintenance. Jurists, simple formula. Jurists simplified it. Muslim jurists, Islamic jurists, they simplified it. And in this simplification, they did it with good intention. But now we have blinded it with blind taqleed. And just repeating the same word. The jurists with good intention simplified the formula of taqwa. They said that knowledge of what is haram, forbidden, and knowledge of what is makruh, discouraged, and doubtful, this is part of taqwa. But now we are all the time, 24 hours, seized with the situation in which we keep on discussing what is haram. Well, hamal khinzir is haram. And the paper in which it has been wrapped is haram. The chemical which has been drawn from it, although it has changed, is hayat, is chemistry. But still, we continue giving fatwa on the extractions, on chemicals, whereas the Quran uses the word laham. Laham. But here we have stretched these words, haram, makruh, and other terms, far, far beyond what the jurists in the beginning they simplified, they placed these things, this definition before the people so that they understand very quickly and simply, but we have made it complicated. Then what is the scientific approach to taqwa? So far, we have discussed from the religious literature of Islam. But now we are trying to discuss from the scientific perspective of taqwa. Scientific approach for taqwa is consciousness and connectivity. Two things. In the beginning, I had said that I'll discuss taqwa only from three words, three translated words, whether the translation is right or wrong. But I will not insist that one translation is right or this is the translation. There are three translations which are circulating mostly. That is, taqwa means piety, connection, connectivity, consciousness, fear. So fear, consciousness, and piety. So we are limiting our discussion to this thing. So here again, we are trying to discuss this consciousness and connectivity as a scientific approach to taqwa. A deeper scientific aspect of taqwa lies in consciousness. If somebody is not conscious of God, there's no question of taqwa. If he is not a believer, as Ibn Abbas said, he has no God consciousness. He may be conscious of other laws, but not conscious of God. Consciousness is continuous distinction, continuous dimension. Consciousness is continuous dimension of evolution. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept on evolving, developing, upgrading the dimensions, different dimensions of consciousness, intelligence, emotional intelligence, extrasensory perception, reflexes, then intellect. No, all these things were not developed in a day. Adam was not Allama Adam Asma Kullaha in a day. Fasawaytuhu, it took time. Consciousness is continuous dimension, millions of years of evolution from Big Bang to date. And this scientists say that this dimension of consciousness is still evolving. Now we have reached the stage of artificial intelligence. Yesterday I was listening to a discussion in the aeroplane in which they were referring to certain scientific researches that the mental development, mental exercises, intellect, it is continuously developing. The man of today is more intelligent than the man about a century back. My own generation, my next generation, we find a difference. So consciousness is a continuous dimension of evolution from Big Bang to date. It is the degree of consciousness. Degree. Consciousness is not just one thing. There are different degrees of consciousness. Man is more conscious because of more modules, which I have mentioned, which man has been given, whereas the animals, they have different levels of consciousness, very low levels. It is the degree of consciousness that makes man superior in animal world and even among other humans. Not only in the animal world, but between human beings, among human beings, in the animal world and in the human world. The difference lies in the degree of consciousness. You may be more conscious of God than myself. You may be more intellectual than myself. So there are degrees of consciousness. Understanding of consciousness distinguishes between mind and body. If we understand this thing, then we'll understand when nafsim mama sabaha, the nafsiyat, the psychology, the theory of psychology which Quran is giving, distinguishes between mind and body. Nafs al-Ammara with Shuhan Nafs rides over, controls the body even, controls the thinking even. and between mind and world, how we are connected with the world. These two important aspects need further consideration in depth. That what is the connection between mind and body? This is a very important subject of psychology. Connection between mind and body. And then what is the connection between mind and world? This is the basis of belief system in Quran. آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر. Mind and the world. This is the world view. So the connection between mind and body, the personal view of the nafs, and the connection between mind and the world view from Amant Billah to the Akhirah. So I think I stop here. Next time, inshallah, we will start with this small phrase, small statement, and then we'll go to discuss certain other aspects of psychology. Subhan rabbika rabbil izzat amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى نور العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم بفضلك ورحمتك أعلي كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us, shower us with your blessings, increase our knowledge, grant us forgiveness, and reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, purify our heart, strengthen our faith, grant us knowledge and wisdom, and make us follow the footsteps of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Ma'araj, our daughter Aisha Wani, our brother Osmani. Oh Allah, grant to all of them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them and make them righteous. Oh Allah, we have many of our brethren who are in Palestine, in Sudan, and many other parts of the world who are facing barbaric enemies, unjust world, and complacent Muslim nations. Oh Allah, grant them victory, heal their trauma, protect their helpless. Oh Allah, remove their suffering and grant them peace and prosperities. Oh Allah, we ask you every name you have elected for yourself, that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, adada khalqih, ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.